It is the most wonderful time of the year. No, I'm not talking about Christmas. I'm not talking about spooky season. I'm talking about football season. It's back. Football is finally back. Let's get into it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as I said in the intro, it is the most wonderful time of the year, and it's not Christmas, it's not spooky Halloween season, it is football season. Football season is back starting this Thursday. It is Monday, September 1st. I'm recording this video a little bit early, but we're going to start doing the kickoff to the season starting right now. Now then, let's see. Let's talk. Getting the notebook back out. We got stuff to do. We got stuff to talk about. We're gonna start off first with some off-season conversations. Okay, so much happened during the off-season this year, and ESPN. I have a big monitor above me here. I got ESPN pulled up. ESPN ranked 50 of the top off-season moves, signings, draft picks, you name it. It's in this list. Okay. I'm gonna go through. I'm just gonna hit a couple. I'm gonna go through it for a few minutes. Let's see what we can find that's of significance. Right. The number one thing on the list: Davante Adams to the Rams. I don't know how I feel about this. Right. I don't know. Like what this is literally listed as like the most impactful or as one of the top most impactful things. Cooper Kupp obviously gone. He's off to Seattle. I'm sure that's on this list. But Adams obviously one-on-one is near to unstoppable. He even looked fairly good for Aaron Rodgers last year. Aaron obviously a little on the wash side. He has 5 straight 1,000+ yard seasons, and that's why he's on the top of that list, I think, right? Because he is impactful at the wide receiver position. It is a big deal when you have Davante Adams on your team. It is. It's an absolute big deal. So, Davante Adams to the Rams, does that make them even more of a solidified playoff contender? A division's a tough division for the most part. The Niners are a little bit out there lately. But like Seattle looks pretty good in my opinion. The Rams adding Davante Adams, that's pretty cool. Only time will tell, I think, with that specific move. Next up, Cam Ward, obviously going to the Tennessee Titans. He was drafted there as the number 1 pick in the 2025 draft. He had 4,313 passing yards and 39 touchdowns at Miami last season. He is an impact player. And he's going into an environment, into a team that has struggled the last couple seasons. They haven't really been able to get their footing. So he has Calvin Ridley. He has Tyler Lockett. Those are some pretty good targets. Plus, he has a young offensive line with some upgrades. He has the potential, I think, to turn that organization around. But a lot of it, what I think all of us have seen, if you've watched quarterbacks, if you've watched Hard Knocks and stuff like that, is that so much of it starts at the front office level. So, like, how much is he going to actually be allowed to do? What is his impact going to outmeasure what the front office provides? That's the real question. Ashton Genty, drafted by the Las Vegas Raiders. I think that's going to be an absolute game wrecker for them. Ashton looks incredible. He had 2,601 rush yards and 126 forced missed tackles last season. He's crazy. That is insane. He is definitely going to be a game changer for them at running back. They have, oh man, they had a quarterback. They got Geno. They got Geno in the offseason. So like, what's going to happen, right? They also just got Kenny Pickett from the Browns. The Browns had a quarterback room that was 10 deep for some reason, and finally they coughed one up and sent him to Vegas. So we'll see how that goes. Josh Sweat to the Cardinals. That's going to be pretty impactful. He's amazing on the D line. They needed edge help for sure. Coincidentally, the Packers game that I went to last year was the Cardinals, and they definitely needed some help on the edge. So that I think will be a pretty significant help for them. Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold to the Seahawks. I look forward to seeing that, to be honest. I think people have written off the Seahawks because of the Sam Darnold move, but Sam looked really good for the most part with the Vikings. They started having some consistent ball. I don't think that this is going to be the problem that everybody thinks it's going to be. He's going to have Cooper Kupp and Jackson Smith and Njigba. Like I think that that's going to be fine. I think they're going to do good. And honestly, you could probably argue that they're number one, if not number two, in that division altogether. They have a lot of talent. My boy Torrey Horton from Colorado State University got drafted to the Seattle Seahawks. I look forward to seeing how he does on the field this season. I think altogether that's a pretty good move. Sam is reliable, right? It took a while for him to settle in the league, but with the Vikings he looked really good. I don't have any doubts that he can make this team look good. Pickens to the Cowboys on a 1-year deal. Pickens to the Cowboys could be a wash. I'm a Packers fan. I'm just going to say it. Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons will outweigh any Cowboy news that you have from here on out. Micah to Green Bay was a huge deal, and it just, Dak is signed obviously to a huge contract. He's overpaid, in my opinion. His reliability isn't there. His playoff performance is non-existent. I don't think that George Pickens changes that when you already have CeeDee Lamb. I mean, let's see. He has 35 receptions of 20 or more yards the past 2 seasons. I tied for 5th in the league. Sure, but he also was very much so a diva there at the end of his time in Pittsburgh, as was Antonio Brown, as was Juju Smith-Schuster, and now those guys are also irrelevant. So that one feels like it falls short to me. There you go. Geno Smith coming in at number 11, traded to the Las Vegas Raiders. He threw for 4,320 yards last season. It is his career high. Now he gets to throw at Jacoby Myers and Brock Bowers. I think this is an upgrade. They got Pete Carroll too. They actually have a real a solid coach right now. Pete is tried and true and Super Bowl caliber at all times. I honestly didn't even mind when Gruden was there if you kind of ignore some of the bullcrap that came out of the Gruden camp. But I don't know. I think Geno's a good upgrade, and especially if you look at their quarterback room the last couple of seasons, I think that they're going to look really good with Geno in that camp. Again, Genty as running back to Myers, Bowers. I think that team is going to look different this year. You could argue that they're not the worst team in that division. That division is going to be, hands down, in my opinion, probably one of the top 2 most competitive divisions in football this season. All those teams look fairly stacked. The Chargers look really good. They have some injury-prone situations. They're going to fall a little bit in there. But the Broncos looked really good at the end of last season, as much as it pains me to say it. They might have found their franchise in Bo Nix. And the Chiefs are the Chiefs. They're going to be there regardless. Travis Swift is going to score a bunch of touchdowns this season. He's going to change his name. It's going to happen. I'm just saying. It's going to happen. Nah. They're both going to keep their names. However, be funny to see. I think that division altogether, the Raiders doing their rebuild, I think that's going to look ridiculous, and that division is going to be ultra competitive. I might be wrong, and it could be the complete opposite, but I think that division is going to be ridiculous. So we'll see how that goes. Number 12, Travis Hunter to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Unlike his counterpart, Shedeur Sanders, who fell so far in the draft that it became an absolute joke, Travis Hunter goes 2nd overall. He's going to sit opposite of Brian Thomas Jr. He had 15 touchdown catches and 23 receptions of 20 or more yards, both tied for 2nd in the nation last year. Travis Hunter is an impact player. He absolutely is amazing on both sides of the ball. How they decide to utilize him on both sides of the ball will continue to be the questions. He had 9 interceptions over his entire college career in the corner position. I think he could do great things on both sides of the ball, but the question then remains, what is the split duty that he gets to deal with, going through this season, and what does that look like, for Jacksonville, who ended last season not necessarily where they wanted to be, obviously. Minkah Fitzpatrick to the Dolphins. That's a good safety. I have no problems with Minkah. The Dolphins altogether, though, I have a lot of problems with. I just don't feel like they're not going to be great. I don't think they're going to be dog trash by any means, but I think that they're going to be bad. I think it's going to be a weird year for them. They're rebuilding. Tua needs to go. He injury prone. He's had more concussions than he knows what to do with. They need to make a change at the quarterback position. But adding somebody who has 20 interceptions over 8 pro seasons, I think that that's a reliable person to have in that defensive backfield, and especially when you're talking about Ramsey being gone and stuff like that. I think that this is not the worst move for them, but again, it could just fall to irrelevance more than anything. DK Metcalf being Aaron Rodgers' weapon in the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's going to be their number 1 receiver, and he had 48 touchdowns through 6 seasons in Seattle. Metcalf is obviously going to be the top of the route tree. He's going to be a lot of quick game target too for Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers likes that fast pass. He also, say what you will about Aaron Rodgers, the age hasn't helped him a whole lot, but last season Aaron Rodgers still looked fairly decent for what it is. He's not the worst quarterback in the league by any stretch. He's a Hall of Famer, first ballot, no doubt, one of the greatest to ever do it. You can shrug off all the the Super Bowl talk you want. He has a Super Bowl. The Packers in the early 2010s were absolutely. I'm a Packers fan. I got a cheese head sitting right here. I'm a Packers fan. Packers fan for life. The early 2010s were really painful for Packers fans, man. We kept touching. We got right there every time. And then generally, the damn 49ers would come in and absolutely wreck us out. We didn't have very much answers for that in the early 2000s. He's still a 4-time MVP. He's still one of the best players to ever do that position. And now he has DK Metcalf. It's going to be weird for them altogether, right? And there's a chance that this is Aaron Rodgers' one and only run in Pittsburgh. He could only have 1 year. I've seen him hint at it here and there. Altogether, though, I don't know. I think that it doesn't hinder that team to have somebody the caliber of DK Metcalf or Aaron Rodgers to throw at. And then in the backfield, they get Jalen Ramsey. Jalen Ramsey is on this list as well. Why not? Why not? Pad that backfield up as much as you can. I think that's a great move as well. Jalen Ramsey had, 1 sack on 12 pressures last season. I love that this is like a guy who they didn't put interception stats up for him. That's dangerous. Joey Bosa to the Buffalo Bills. That's going to be fine. If Joey can stay healthy, he has 72 career sacks. So, if he can stay healthy, I don't think that that's a negative move on their part. And again, the Bills are Super Bowl caliber. They keep, again, just touching right at the edge. They're right there. It is possible for them to get over the hump. It's just whether or not they do, right? Stephon Diggs to the Patriots. They're rough. He had an ACL tear at the end of, the end of his 2024 season. He has 6 straight seasons of at least 1,000 yards. You're looking at reliability for sure, but again, kind of a prima donna. He had 47 receptions for 496 yards in his 8 games that he played last season. The Patriots need somebody who's reliable, and what I think is that he is that. But the second that they turn away from him or they start throwing the ball in the other direction, Stephon is going to do Stephon things. That's what's going to come out of that. Justin Fields to the Jets, taking over for Aaron Rodgers. Again, coming from a Packers fan, I don't hate Justin Fields. I didn't hate him as a Bear. I hate the Bears. But Justin had a lot of potential, and the Bears organization does what the Bears organization does, and absolutely squashed that kid's potential. He's one of the best mobile quarterbacks in the league. You can argue that kind of here and there if you want, but I think Justin is going to be a really good addition. He's going to add mobility where Aaron Rodgers didn't have it. That team is fairly young. You still got Garrett Wilson, you got Breece Hall, and they're going to be using Brandon Allen and stuff too in the backfield. They're going to move it around. In his 6 starts for the Steelers, he had 65.8% completion, and he had 289 rush yards with 5 touchdowns. I think that he's going to add a lot of dual threat capability to that team. And it's going to be, again, that team is going to have its ups and downs. People, I think, always kind of wait for the Jets to do what the Jets do, but if there was going to be a year where you could kind of argue that the potential is starting to really line up and it's outside of the hype that Aaron Rodgers brought, this would be a good year for them. Jaire Alexander, my boy out of the backfield in Green Bay going to the Baltimore Ravens. He's a key addition if he can remain healthy, which I already know that he hasn't been healthy through training camp. He's not healthy right now, and he wasn't healthy at all last season either. So as a Packers fan, what I can say is I love Jai. I have a multitude of respect for Jai. I think he's one of the best people to play in the backfield in Green Bay in a long time. But if he can't stay, healthy, then he's just gonna fall off. And that's really what he did in Green Bay. That's why it was so easy for us to waive him and let him go. Deebo Samuel to the Commanders. I like it. I think that it adds the veteran mentality that wide receiver room needs. They obviously just finally re-signed Terry McLaurin. Scary Terry is going to look like a freak this year. I would guarantee that. But in 2023, Deebo had 12 touchdowns and 1,000 all-purpose yards for San Francisco. I think that, again, what this does add is veteran mentality to a fairly young team that made it real far in the playoffs. So, sometimes you just need that thing that gets you over the hump, and maybe it's just having a little bit of veteran mentality going into that situation, into that team. That could be awesome. Just having that little push, that little extra that gets your team moving, gets your team motivated. I think that's a positive. I don't see any problem with it. Aaron Banks, guard, signs with the Green Bay Packers, coming away from the 49ers. He's 6'5", 325, a 2021 second-round pick, and he is built to create a path for Josh Jacobs to run through. And Josh Jacobs is an absolute dog. I swear he's going to get another 1,000-yard season. He's going to be an absolute freak this season. And that's going to be because of guys like Aaron Banks just paving the way for Josh Jacobs to find that end zone wherever he absolutely can. Jonnu Smith traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Again, that's, former Dolphin Pat Freiermuth is back there with him as well. I think that's going to be Aaron Rodgers is notoriously a tight end thrower. I can think back to Jermichael Finley, to Robert Tonyan, to Richard Rodgers. Like, you get a lot of these guys who Aaron Rodgers really likes to throw to, and tight ends are normally those guys. Big dog Mercedes Lewis. You got a lot of guys like that. I think that's going to be a real positive move for them. Russell Wilson to the Giants. I think that this is an overhyped nightmare, and I think that Jackson Dart is going to absolutely play within the first 3 weeks of play in New York. Malik Nabers is young. The offense needs to start catering a little bit to the young, to the potential. They drafted him in the first round. They see the potential. But currently, Russ is listed as the number 1 quarterback. He had the 6th best off-target percentage at 12.7% out of all quarterbacks last season. But he has reduced mobility. That's like the thing that they're hanging up on, is his reduced mobility. I do agree with that. He doesn't look like the Russell Wilson of the championship years, and I think that is well behind them. Speaking of which, Jackson Dart, drafted by the New York Giants. He threw for 4,279 yards and 29 touchdowns, adding 495 rushing yards as well at Ole Miss in his final season. I think that's going to be an absolute freak addition. He looked really good during camp and really good during preseason. I think, again, that man is going to be under center before week 4. I would bet you by the end of week 3, they're going to talk about moving to Jackson Dart, which will be shockingly quick. And then, obviously, in my opinion, the biggest offseason move, is the Green Bay Packers getting Micah Parsons. We don't make moves like that very often, right? And sure, he's dealing with a back injury right now. It sounds like that back injury is not going to take him out for a very long period of time. There's a chance he misses week 1. He's talking about getting, some sort of injection to make his way through that ball game. He wants to play week 1. He's missed 5 games in 4 seasons. He's a very reliable player. At 26 years old, already in line to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, and the Cowboys gave him up to us for 2 Cokes and a bag of chips. I have no negative feelings currently about it. I'm a little worried about the back situation, but the contract signing was pending a physical, which he took and he passed. So in my opinion, we're looking at water under the bridge right now. We're looking at a minor setback with whatever's going on with his like inflammation and his like L4, L5. I still think that this is going to be fine. I think that it's going to take a minute for him to feel healthy and feel 100%, but I think that Micah Parsons is going to be the game breaker that we need on our defense. He is that edge rush that we need. Now we have him. We have Rashawn Gary. We have Devondre Wyatt. We have Lucas Van Ness. That line is going to be absolutely terrifying. And you couple that with getting Nate Hobbs out the backfield. Our boy X going to give it to you, Xavier McKinney. He's going to make... Our defense is going to be, it was top 6 last year. It's going to be top 4 this year. And you could argue, I've seen the Super Bowl odds. I don't even like going that way. I'm superstitious. But you could argue that our team is going to look freakishly good, at least in the stretch. We just got to beat the teams where it matters. We lost to the Lions twice last year. We lost to the Eagles twice last year. We lost to the Vikings twice last year. We can't be doing that. Those are all 6 of our losses, and we need to clean up against the teams that are going to go to the big show. The Vikings are going to look weird this year. J.J. McCarthy, he's a rookie. He didn't get any play time last year outside of preseason before he had his, the knee injury, and he took himself out so he could do the surgery and he could, heal and be a better player. No problem with that. But I do think that is going to be something that holds them down just a little bit, is going to be having a very much so rookie quarterback in his second year. And they got rid of Sam Darnold. So you don't have the veteran mentality that they once had. Maybe they should go and try to get their boy Kirk back, have Kirk on the sideline. He's going to serve backup for the most part this year with the Falcons anyway. You can at least have a veteran there to teach that kid how to play ball. Or get him comfortable in the pocket, get him comfortable in big league play. Because he just went a whole year where he didn't get that. It's a big difference between college and the show, man. So I think it's going to be a weird year altogether for the Vikings. But our division is going to be competitive as always, except for the Bears. Not impressed. I hope Caleb is losing sleep right now, just having nightmares about Micah Parsons being in his backfield. I might mean it like that. You never know. Never know. Either way, that's that. That's the show on that. Now, let's get down to the nitty-gritty, okay? This is the part of the show that I really liked doing last year. It is where I'm going to pick. I'm going to do all the picks. I'm going to pick a team from every single game of every single week, okay? I'm going to do them week by week. I'm going to tally up my wins and my losses. And then, at the end of the year, if I am below 500, I'll do something ridiculous, like run a mile for every loss or some crap. I don't know. Probably not that I'm fat. We'll figure it out, okay? Either way, we're going to get down to the picks for week 1. Yep, got that. Keeping track of the wins and losses, all the good stuff. Let's get down to week 1 of the NFL season, which kicks off Thursday, September 4th. It's right around the corner. It's 3 days away. We're hype. And that game is the Cowboys at the defending champion, Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles favored by 7.5. I'm going to give it to them. I'm going to give it to the Eagles. Again, the Cowboys are going to look ridiculous this year. And I mean more like a clown show ridiculous. Not like ridiculous. I mean like ridiculous. It's not going to be good. Okay? They're overhyped every year. Jerry Jones has no clue what he's doing, and now they've traded away their best player, who apparently is also, like, they're going to be better because of trading him away. Even though, like, Jerry's press conference, go watch Jerry's press conference, okay? It's awful. Go watch that press conference. Get back to me. The Eagles are going to win. I'm giving it to the Philadelphia Eagles. Game number 2 is on Friday. There's a Friday game this week, and it is Chiefs at Chargers with Kansas City favored by 3. Rashee Rice is going to have a 6-game suspension. I don't know that matters in my opinion. Joey Bosa over to the Bills. That defense is going to look a little bit different this year. I'm still going to give it to the Kansas City Chiefs. I think they're riding a high with Kelsey Swift. I think that they're still going to look like the Kansas City Chiefs. They might have their ups and downs, but that team is reliable, and it is battle tested in the postseason. Excuse me. So I'm going with the Chiefs for the Friday night game. Now to the Sunday games. Obviously going to break them down by 11 a.m.s, 2 p.m.s, and then into the night game. So let's start with the 11 a.m.s. Got Buccaneers at Falcons with Tampa Bay favored by 2.5. I am going to give it to Tampa Bay. The Falcons were a mess last season trying to figure out quarterback between Kirk and Michael Penix. I don't foresee them being any more or less of what they were last season. I think they're going to be very mid. They're going to have their big games, but they're going to have their low ones as well. The Bucs, Baker, he looked really good last season. I'm going to give it to Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Bengals at Browns with the Bengals favored by 5.5. I am going to go with the Cincinnati Bengals. The Browns, again, dog and pony show in the offseason, doing what they do with that whack quarterback room. Joe Flacco is going to get the start. Jerry Jeudy is fine, but he's not going to give them that push that they need. Nick Chubb not there anymore. It's going to be a weird year for the Cleveland Browns. They're going to be up and down at best. The Bengals, though, they're looking for a revenge tour. Joe Cool, he's going to go off mad this year. Chase is going to look ridiculous. I think the Bengals are going to look really good, and they're going to get back into their playoff ways this season, going with the Cincinnati Bengals over the Cleveland Browns. Dolphins at Colts with the Colts favored by 1.5. This game is going to be a crap fest either way. Danny Dimes has got the start for the Indianapolis Colts. My dad was a Giants fan. I used to give him crap about Danny Dimes all the time. I think they bailed on Anthony Richardson too fast. They went for the veteran mentality. They're trying to look for consistent play. That's going to be rough. Jonathan Taylor looked all right last year, but not as good as in previous years. I think this is going to be a tough call altogether. I don't know how Tua is going to play. I don't know how they're going to look. I am going to give it to the Miami Dolphins. I think that's going to be one of my gambles on this week. It's going to be the Miami Dolphins over the Indianapolis Colts. 1.5 points is not enough for me to lean towards the Colts in any way, shape, or form. It's under a field goal. I think that's going to be tough. Let's go to the Raiders at the Patriots with New England favored by 2.5. I'm going to go with the Raiders. I think that the Raiders look really good. The Patriots are still rebuilding. The Raiders are still rebuilding. But I have a lot of confidence in what the scheme of the Raiders looks like right now. They got a new coach. They got a new quarterback. They got a new running back. I think they're going to have a lot of stuff going their way this season. Again, that division is going to be ridiculously competitive, and I think they're going to be underhyped for that matter. I'm going with Vegas. Give me the Raiders over the Patriots. Cardinals at Saints with Arizona favored by 6.5, and I'm going to take Arizona. I'm sorry, all the New Orleans fans out there, but the Saints quarterback room is an absolute atrocity. Alvin Kamara is aged out, and all the potential of people like Chris Olave ain't going to matter if you don't have anybody to throw to him. So, go on the Cardinals over the Saints. Steelers at Jets with Pittsburgh favored by 3. Again, this is such a tough one to me because I see potential on both sides of the ball. Oh, what do I even feel here? I think I'm going to gamble, and I'm going to go with the Jets. I think Justin Fields is going to change how that offense looks. I do. New coach, new quarterback. I'm going to trust that the Jets are going to get this under control this season. Give me the Jets over the Steelers. Believe it or not, that is the second home team that I've selected at this point. Sorry, there's probably a weird little glitch there. My dogs were going crazy. So yeah, I'm going to take the Jets over the Steelers. I think that, again, new coach, new quarterback, they're going to look a ton better. At least better than they did, obviously, in the previous 2. And the Steelers, there's going to be a lot of questions, right? Aaron Rodgers, we're going to see kind of how that looks. Mike Tomlin is tried and true. He never misses the playoffs. Aaron Rodgers beat Mike Tomlin in the Super Bowl in 2010. Maybe this is the thing that needs to happen for Aaron Rodgers to have a resurgence as he finishes off his career, but we won't know until we get over the hill. So let's see kind of how that looks, but I'm going to take the Jets over the Steelers. Giants at Commanders. Give me the Commanders. I want to have faith that the Giants are going to get it figured out, but I think they're not going to get it figured out until they let Jackson Dart start. Russell Wilson does not have my faith. He fell off really hard with Denver. He didn't look very good with Pittsburgh. I don't see it. I think that the Commanders are still going to be amazing this season. They looked really, really good last season, obviously. Scary Terry getting his new contract. I think that team is going to look pretty ridiculous. Give me the Commanders. Panthers at Jags, with the Jags being favored by 3.5 points. I don't even know, man, because the Panthers I don't think have the worst setup ever right now. They look a lot better than they have in previous seasons. But I think I am going to take the favorite, and I'm going to go with the Jacksonville Jaguars to kick off the season. We'll see how Trevor Lawrence looks. It'll be our first real shot at seeing Travis Hunter in the league. Travis Etienne looked really good at running back. I think that it's going to be an interesting year for that team, but I think they're going to kick it off with a W. And we move to the 2 p.m. games. Lions at Packers. Packers are officially favored by 2.5. They were not favored a week ago. That's the Micah Parsons effect. Does he play? Does he not play? Who knows? Who cares? Go Pack, go. I'm taking the Packers over the Lions in our first home opener since Matt LaFleur has become our head coach. We are going to kick it off with a bang. We're going to win that first ball game, and we're going to send Detroit packing back to Ford Field. Titans at Broncos, with the Broncos favored by 8. Again, Cam Ward drafted as the quarterback for the Tennessee Titans. They got Tyler Lockett, Calvin Ridley. They're going to be rebuilding. This is still going to be something new that they're going to have to deal with and something new they're going to have to figure out. The Broncos ended last season looking really good. I'm going to give it to the Broncos to kick off the year for them. Unfortunately, not a Broncos fan. I live in Denver. Not a fan. But I think the Broncos showed a lot of consistency at the end of last season. You get into the playoffs, they drew the short straw and they had to play the Bills. That's a tough break, but I think that once they get a little more battle tested, they're going to be pretty ridiculous too. 49ers at Seahawks, with San Francisco favored by 2.5. Give me the Seattle Seahawks at home. I am not a believer in the 49ers right now. Christian McCaffrey is made out of sticks and glue at this point. Brock Purdy has shown that he isn't as good under pressure as everybody wants him to be. They lost Debo. Their receiver room right now is absolutely ransacked with injuries. I just don't believe that they're going to kick off the season the way that their fans want them to. I'm going to give this opening one to the Seattle Seahawks at the 2.5 favorite. And then closing off the afternoon games on Sunday with Texans at Rams, with the Rams favored by 3. I'm actually going to go with the Texans. I'm going to take the away team. I mean, again, Matt Stafford has dealt with some injuries. Devontae Adams is an absolute improvement for that receiver room. They got rid of Cooper Kupp, who went to Seattle. And this is... I just don't, Puka Nakua's there too. I don't know that I believe in how they look, at least in week 1. So I'm going to go with the Texans over the Rams. Move to the Sunday night game. Ravens at Bills, with the Bills favored by 1. That is a tough game to call. That game is going to be competitive. It's going to be one of those gun show shootouts that Josh Allen always gets himself stuck in. Bills are favored, and my gut says Bills, so I'm going to take the Bills in week 1. We close off week 1 with the Monday night game, Vikings at Bears. This is going to be a tough one. Minnesota's favored by 1.5, but again, we don't know how J.J. McCarthy is going to look so early in the year. He has no regular season appearances as a Viking yet because he was out all last year after having surgery on his MCL. So it's going to be tough. It's a tough call. I don't know that I believe that the Vikings are battle tested enough with him at quarterback. I'm going to take the Bears, as sad as that sounds. I think the Bears are going to go in. Caleb Williams is looking to shake off some of these bad narratives in his opinion of himself. They're going to try to look really good. It's in Chicago to kick off the year. I think that they're going to have the edge over the Vikings. I got really weird there for a second, but I started off with a whole lot of away teams winning and ended with a whole lot of home teams getting it back at the end of this. That's my week 1 predictions. Going with Eagles, Chiefs, Bucks, Bengals, Dolphins, Raiders, Cardinals, Jets, Commanders, Jags, Packers, Broncos, Seahawks, Texans, Bills, Bears, all to win their opening season games. I'm excited. I'm excited that football is back. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. I always love the year. Again, that was my recap of the teams that I'm going to take up here. Bang, putting those social media accounts. Go like, follow, share, and subscribe on all of those. And again, guys, remember to do more than simply exist and come with me into the 2025 NFL season. Hands in, hands in. Victory on 3. 1, 2, 3, victory.